good.
All right, calling meeting to order, 6:05. Thank you everyone for in attendance tonight. First item of business, Sam rescinding resignation.
I make a motion to accept Sam's resignation. Right, don't we make a motion to accept it?
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I make a motion to rescind Sam's resignation. I'll make the motion.
Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Previous minutes approval. Everyone had a chance to look those over?
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Current agenda approval.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda for September 23rd.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public address, Christopher John Drew, committees.
So first off, I just want to start out, I sent a few emails, letters over a period of time. I do apologize if I offended people, honestly. Like, that's not my intention. I do like to bring up items and make sure they're not pushed aside or not thought about, and I try to bring those things forward. Okay, so I honestly want to apologize for that. Just I want to move forward from there. Okay, and just
Appreciate
clean
that.
something. So first off, can you explain the process for vetting of committees and how you went through? Just a quick, I'm just curious. Is that something?
How we
Yeah,
pick the
like when
committees?
you took the applicants' resumes or whatever you want to call them, how did you go through and pick for?
So like for the hockey committee, we allowed Tom to make the decision and Brody to.
So we kind of left it to the chairs for all of
Okay,
it.
the chairs.
Yeah.
So I just got a few things I want to go over, and then not expecting like answers today on some of this stuff, but if you could just take notes and maybe get back to people that are curious. So committees are very important as they allow for the other club members to be involved and have skin in the game, right? Allows for more ideas and helps to make the best decisions. The worst situation is allowing small groups of people to make all decisions and not round table ideas for various aspects. Need to make sure committees are majority club members, in my opinion. I know the financial committee, you got a couple extra ones, right? They're not directly club, right? They're outside. I would think we should have maybe an extra person, but I'll keep going from there. The reason you want new people is to hear their ideas, as usually friend groups and all that, try to make each other happy. So we need to be able to challenge each other. Like, even if I had a best friend on the board, I would challenge them the same. If I was somebody, I would just randomly know. Like, I think we should all have that healthy debate to make the best decisions for the club, right? We all need people that challenge each other and hold them accountable without feeling like we're being blackballed or thought of as we shouldn't be a part of the club if we bring things up, because that definitely is not the culture we want in a club, right? We want to all be able to bring ideas to the table not feel like if I say something, our kids might get shunned from a coach. There is those feelings, right? I guarantee that. So people are scared, but we should be able to have healthy conversations. Okay. You should never just agree with your friend because it's just a friend or family member. You can't separate that, it won't hurt the rest of the club, which the main priority should be to make the club as good as possible. Personally, I have no issues challenging and ask everyone I work with to challenge me as well. I mean, everybody should accept challenges as we go forward. Like last one opening, I'm sure you've been in a few of them that been in. I'll challenge VPs, directors on things, and it may be heated for a bit, or they might disagree up front, but at the end, they respect it, and we can come together and make decisions. There should be no issues with that. Let's see. The last hockey committee meeting we had was probably the best meeting I've seen that I've been a part of in the hockey committee. I haven't been in a ton of them, but that was very well organized, and I think some of you guys that are here, you feel the same way. It was very well, a lot of ideas tossed around. And that's what it's all about. So Keith did a great job setting that up, getting us on track. One thing I would like to set forth that maybe you guys can look at changing is maybe allowing Keith, because he did put in for like the financial committee to be a part of it, having one outside person and maybe the rest direct club members would be a lot better thought about as a group, just a thought. So take that into consideration. One thing from the state meeting, they brought up, a lot of things that were not closed on the answer, right? There's still a lot of gaps on what should be, I guess, clear and transparent to everyone. So if we could generate a list of those that we feel are gaps, and if you guys could maybe send an email out to the whole club and just say, here's the path we're going. Or, we are going to extend the board members, like they did suggest, I think, at one point said, hey, you can go to like 10 or something. Is that something you're going to think about? Is it term limits? Make things clear to us of where you're going to head, right? If concerns are brought forth via email or however you guys get communications, have responses so there's not people left out hanging and not understanding maybe the final outcome, right? So, I know some concerns were like our voting system at one time. Is that something you guys would consider looking at, trying to make it more up to date, not paper? I get it, it's easy to hand out paper, but we got a lot of members and maybe the meetings are going to be a lot bigger now, so you want to have a more proper process in place. I guess one last thing, I guess you guys just voted on it, but so this is just I don't want to bring it up and battle on it, but Jamie was voted on and not allowed back on. He was voted by people that wanted him as a voice. It's not fair to those people, and I don't think it's transparent if we're starting a precedent of, okay, we're one person, nothing in Sam, I want her on board, it's not what I'm trying to get at. But it could be anyone who put a resignation in, and then now we pick and choose. Precedent was set that now if they put it in, you push them off, but they were voted on. I'm just throwing it out there. I think it would be good and transparent and good for the club if you allowed him back on, since he was voted on and made that group to make the vote. So that's what I think.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report.
All right, so I've emailed, or Denise had emailed all of you guys the balance sheet. I received it when you received it. I have not had a chance to even look at it, so what I propose today is that we don't actually have a motion accepting the treasury report until I can look at it. I would suggest maybe 3 days and then an email vote, if you guys felt comfortable with that. Are you okay with that? Because I can't even tell you anything about it.
I haven't had a chance to comb it myself. So.
Yeah. So I thought maybe we would just postpone that and just, if we felt comfortable doing it through email, and if you had any questions in between then hopefully Denise can answer that for you.
If anyone would like to look at stuff, it is up there though, so.
Yep.
So then the other part of my treasury report though is to get the Winter Classics, all of the items, not all of the items, but a lot of them explained and approved. I have a very aggressive budget of making $150,000 in Winter Classics this year. I think we made $50,000 last year. So what I have first item is the championship rings. So what I did this year is I went wholesale, so I went directly to the companies, the factories that are making these things instead of a second party that would be selling it to us. That's gonna save us a substantial amount of money, but I am using all the same vendor for every single thing that we're purchasing this year. The catch is that when it's daytime here, it's nighttime for them, so I'm setting my alarm at like 2 in the morning and communicating with these people. So that's made it kind of interesting, but for the most part, I have everything done and kind of on the checklist. Just kind of want you guys to look that over. If you have any questions for me, let me know. It is a lot. So basically we're gonna be doing custom trophies this year. We're kind of gonna go with like the Winter Classic crystal theme. Nothing that I've done or that we're doing this year for our Winter Classics I've ever seen done anywhere before, especially in North Dakota. So we're just trying to separate ourselves out. We know that the East doesn't really enjoy coming to our tournaments. So we just kind of want to stand out and do something different that we haven't ever done before. I have examples of everything in there along with the cost for each item. I won't go through every single one of them, but I will go down to the gray part on that very first page. So with any grant that I've applied for, what you have to do is you have to have Watford City on everything. So with the Rough Rider Center grant, I was approved for 2 $3,000 grants, and that can go towards trophies and merchandise and everything like that. So I have that. So you'll see the total there is $43,398. So that's for the 11 tournaments, well 10 tournaments, and then the 1 jamboree. So that is everything that I would need in order to host all of those. The Rough Rider Center grant, I'm subtracting the $6,000 there that we will receive from that. The other one is the Lodging Tax Visitors Committee grant money. So last year we were approved $15,000 for that, and it did go towards the Winter Classics, and we actually just received that in our bank account this last week, which is very nice. It took a year. So you have to think like the grant money that you're applying for now, it's not gonna be right in our checking account the next day. These all take time to write out, get approved, but there's money there. So if anybody is good at writing grants, I would gladly take you to any advice you can give me on that. I also included the hat profit, and then of $6,000 and the sweatshirt profit of $40,000. So I have the sweatshirt designs right here. We're playing into the Canadians with the younger groups, the spurts, the jamboree. They'll all do the Bigfoot versus Yeti type of thing with slap squatch. Then if you flip to the next page, so I'm coming out there that we'd be $23,000 ahead if I can pull off all of those grants. And then if we include the profit from our sweatshirt and beanie sales. Flip to the next page. So this was just a guesstimate, and I think Jamie could probably fill out these numbers a little bit better than I can, but we're sitting at $59,000 in registration right now. So that's to the good. Is that right, Jamie?
It's probably, I had a couple in the last couple of days, so
So we're over 60?
I have 7 spots left, yeah.
Okay, so I'd reached out to Kathy because she's the one that does the concessions, and I guesstimated that we'd make about $60,000 in concessions, just based on what we did last year. Concessions expense, I put a question mark there because I don't really know yet until I get with Kathy exactly what that would cost. Ref expense, I put $30,000. I don't know exactly where that was sitting either. So I put minus, and then table raffles that we'd make $5,000 off of those, and tournament sponsors. So with tournament sponsors, I put $3,000 a tournament. So what I was hoping to do, and we have to bounce this back to the fundraising committee, is that, you know, if we could get $3,000 per tournament, whether that be that they're on the big screen, the Jumbotron, they get a Facebook advertisement, they're basically hosting and sponsoring a tournament. I'd rather just do one donor than a whole bunch of different donors. So I budgeted $33,000 in that we could potentially make off of having our tournament sponsored this year. So then you can see that ended up being $127,000. I added on the $23,000 that we'd also make after expenses, and I was hitting the $150,000 mark for our tournaments. I don't know, I'm hoping. I know we did 50 last year, so I don't see why we couldn't do better this next year, especially adding on 19U and junior gold. The next page I added was marketing and recruitment items. So this is another area that I was hoping we could make money off of. We obviously approved that mascot, but I also had the plush mascot. So these are, that is in your booklet here. It's the second to last page. So basically I can get these for $2 a piece, and if we sell them for $15, I was getting those plush toys as a profit of $20,000. I also had bobbleheads on there for the drip bobbleheads. That's that very last page that I attached to your guys' booklets. So I was getting that, it would cost me $3.40 to purchase those. And if we went ahead and sold them for $20 a bobblehead, that's $10,000. I have drip chains, I have Oilers blankets, I have KT Enterprises and SK donating those books. And then we did receive grant money for that mascot. Chairs with the covers, I was hoping to propose something to you guys where we do sponsorships on our chairs up in our concourse. I think we really need to head in the direction that anything we do is not going to be permanent and something that our club can keep in case the Rough Rider Center did ever take us over. We just don't want anything that's going to be kind of a permanent moneymaker. Also looking at possibly converting that our boardroom that obviously doesn't work to host board meetings into a merch room. We do have to invest in some of these pieces, but I think if we go ahead and turn around and sell it, we can make money off of that too. So then I got that grand total down at the bottom of we could possibly make $49,000 off of all of those things. So that was all that I really had on any of this. Did you guys have any questions?
Those rings are awesome.
The other thing too is I went and redone, okay, so one thing I do have to talk about is the jerseys. So I had talked to Bob Strom about potentially offering our kids their a third jersey just for our Winter Classics. So these jerseys would only be for our kids. They would just be for our Winter Classics. And I had that kind of vintage look. You can see that on the, is that the third page? Down at the bottom. I do not have a quote on that as to what that would cost. I don't know if it's something you guys want to do. I don't know. That was just kind of throwing it out there. But I did have my graphic designer friend redo our old school logo. So anything with the Winter Classic, what we'd head for is we'd look for that old school Oiler logo with the hockey sticks and the pucks coming out. That would be replicated into the trophies that we give. When we give a player of the game, it would be a puck similar to the top of the trophies right here. So they get a piece of that trophy. And then when we give medals, it would also be a crystal medal. So they would also be, everything would kind of align with each other. So lots of energy put into that. This is the possible ring. This This is the possible sweatshirt design. That's it. So at this time, I kind of just like the top lines approved on the very first page.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel
looks
like the
good.
numbers we discussed quite a bit, so. You know, last year, I think we brought in for registration, just because all the free ones we gave away to the Canadian teams, only about a little over 27,000, so we'll be over double that. I still have lots of jamboree spots, which doesn't bring in a ton of money, but there's still, 20 spots left there. Those usually don't fill up till later. That'll be a couple $1,000 on top of the, probably we'll end up around 63-ish. So, with over doubling our registrations, concessions will be bringing more money, with adding that additional tournament. I think we're good. I mean, I'm good with it.
I think the concept behind all of this is that we don't have to keep fundraising. We don't have to keep doing these little kickoff parties, these raffles, all this type of stuff. If we could just put our energy into the weekends that we're working and that these kids have these tournaments, there's opportunities to make a lot of money off of them. We just have to have it directional so that we can tell our members what we need from them, what they need to do in order for us to kind of make this money and just have it all budgeted out. So that's what I'm hoping for. And we had pretty good success last year for winging it a little bit. That's my treasure report.
Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt, I'm not sure if we're allowed to mention it or not. We have the capability to put graphics up in the corners on the streams, so they'll show up on both Pixelot and YouTube. That could be another advertising option. I don't know if that's
We did
anything that you guys have been aware of or,
Yeah.
tried to.
I've reached out to Lori a couple of times too, because her Sport B tournament that she hosted last year was amazing with the amount of donors that they got and how organized it was and everything. So I'm hoping that, the problem is that all of this stuff is done on a committee and we don't have anybody on the committees to help us out. So if anybody can be on these fundraising committees and the ones that aren't so fun, that would be really great. I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. We didn't have the turnout that we would have liked.
wasn't a great turnout outside of the hockey committee,
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
so for people applying, it was posted for anybody to apply.
Yep.
Like Amanda does have some grant writing experience. I
Nice.
can't volunteer for it.
Sounds like you just did.
I can check in with her, see if she knows.
That's awesome. We'll send out an email too, just seeing if we can get anybody. I know there's one that's due like in 5 days that I gotta get written up, because I'd hate to like waste an opportunity even if we don't get it.
Do all committees have open positions?
I think just the ones that we need people on, right? I think it's up to the chair to kind of decide is what we have in our handbook. We have a committee handbook. I don't really know where it's sitting right now. So that's it for my treasure report. I don't know if you guys want to.
You good, Joe?
So you want an approval to purchase the,
Can we table the jerseys?
Yeah, for sure.
She just wants the first one.
Yeah, anything with
yeah,
a
yeah,
question
yeah.
mark, I
Okay.
don't,
She just wants.
I was just
Sure.
kind of throwing that out there as an opportunity.
I'll motion to approve that.
y'all second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Just one question, since you guys are postponing the review of financials, can I just ask one question on financials quick? I'm already keep going. There's a Visa charge on here for $16,000, and at the meeting, it was mentioned that you guys get, a letter. Are you to attach the Visa charges so you can have transparency in where that money is going? It's not on here.
I hadn't before, I will now. I have them all printed out, every single one from back. We didn't even have any we didn't have any charges on our credit card until August, so there's not really anything. There's a whole bunch of no statements for me to show, so it wasn't too difficult to print out what we do have. I kind of wanted, I know I've talked to Aaron about this before, I was interested in just not having a credit card because, you know, if that makes it easier, you know what I mean? There are situations where we need to order something ASAP. I don't know, that's something the board needs to discuss of whether or not it's something we just wanna get rid of. What we are doing now is they will all have a login and password. This just happened on Thursday. So it was a good thing that came from that meeting with the state. They will all have a login and password to all of our accounts. So they can go in there whenever they want. They won't be able to make transfers or withdrawals, but they'll be able to be in all of our accounts to see everything, so. That's a nice add.
Small question, what is merchant bank? I know that that's a code that we use when we're financial, but is there a vendor called merchant bank?
I seen that on there too, and I think that's just something we have to ask them.
Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to look at these, so I have no idea.
That's fine, I just wanted to.
But, I mean, if you can email me your questions, then I can go to her and like have her explain everything. Anything that we do is all overseen by her, so it almost would make more sense for her to be at all of our meetings, kind of explaining finances, because I think it would be really helpful, you know, especially as new board members, as we get things played out, but.
Do we wanna put these two invoices that came through the refiner center bill
Oh.
on our 16 note? I mean, this is the freezer that needed to be fixed.
Okay, so the freezer needed to be fixed, and that was how much?
252.88.
Okay, $252.88. The toilet paper order for the locker rooms was $292.05, and the convention hall for renting this right now is $160. So we have a $452 total to the Rough Rider Center, and then $252. You guys wanna make a motion to approve those so I can pay them?
I'll make a motion to approve those two from the Rough Rider Center and freezer.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dasher boards.
Oh, no, I don't have an update on that. But what I do wanna say is like, I'd like to get off a Dasher board, so if someone else can take that up, I can't be on all these committees. So if anyone was interested in taking on Dasher boards, please let me know.
Is there nobody in, because you guys combined with the marketing already, right?
Yeah, is it 3 of us?
Is that all there is?
Marta, me, and Sam?
Old business.
I guess the disciplinary committee wasn't on here. Did I throw that in there? Lisa, you had a couple of people that wanted to be on that, correct? Or was it you?
Wanted to be on?
Well,
or-
it was Pat Spacer and Leah Vole were 2, and we were still looking for a 3rd.
I think it's probably cool, you know, based on what Matt had said in the meeting, that maybe that's something that the president's supposed to chair.
So then that would be 3.
Right.
I'm gonna do that.
I guess so we can at least have something established, if another person or two wants to be on it to make it to 4 or 5, in case of conflict of interest.
Yep.
We can have that, but I think we need to get that going, don't you guys, at least so it's established and we know who those people are.
And that's open to everyone, or?
I think the goal is to make it as least hockey related as possible.
Yeah.
To try to avoid any bias, but, so those would be another one that's kind of outside members if possible, at least in my opinion.
Have we reached out to the disciplinary committee from last year, if any of them wanted to?
No, I don't think we have, no. It was Courtney Taylor, Nikki, Erwin, a couple outsiders just don't even get something established.
Yeah.
So if we have,
Maybe we should reach out to them just so someone kind of knows what's going on.
I mean, you've already got two that I think everyone's in agreement with, and we can go ahead and establish it, and
Yeah.
then if we wanted to add to it, we could reach out to them.
that'll give them time to read through the disciplinary, information based on the handbook and stuff like that. Player policy, coaches policy, all that stuff. Is everybody good with having those two plus John chair to start?
A motion to start the disciplinary.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Scheduling and registration.
So I guess the camp rental, like, with the camp rentals, I guess I kind of wanted to decide what we were going to do. I know I talked to, or Jamie talked to me a couple of times about how we should be charging the ice. To me, I've always, and I know boys just charge for the time that they've used the ice. But others want to go a different way that you're charging throughout the day, throughout the whole day. So I just want to know, like, do we need to write up some sort of rental agreement explaining like I just feel like we're gonna lose camps if we do it that way. But I just think we need to all be on the same page, so I know what I'm supposed to be charging for these camp rentals.
I think we should try and keep it as cheap as possible for them so we can get more cancer.
I mean, I agree to that, but at the same time, if you take like the out-train hockey that comes in, I mean, if you look at what they're bringing in, and I mean, what they're paying for ice rental is literally nothing.
I guess my thought wasn't so much like if you rent it at 8, you don't have it till 8 PM if there's a 4-hour gap in the middle. But if there's no lane for somebody, Garrett's in front of my face, wants to rent the ice in the middle for him to wait to get on there, then they have to pay for that 8-minute ice time that cannot be utilized by anybody else.
I just think like our situation is also different because we have to find the ZAM drivers anyway, so are we really wanting to rent it in between and have to?
Well, no, but that's kind of my point, right, is like if they're going from 9 to 12:30 and then they take a 2-hour break for lunch and come back from 4 to 9, I mean, you have to have a little bit of window for prep and examining and stuff like that I think that they should be charged for, because otherwise you could, in theory, rent it to anybody else here, but if that's unavailable, I mean, you're not gonna rent the ice and then the minute you get off the camp starts. So, that was my thought process behind wanting to charge the way through their, when they start, it's 15 or 30 minutes before their 9 AM start time, and when they end, it's 30 minutes after. If they got a 3 or 4 hour gap in the middle for a lunch break or whatever, that's one, you can discount that one. I mean, if you do the math, I mean, some of these camps are bringing in $20,000+ in a given weekend, we're making $2,000.
Alright, well, I guess I'll just write up a rental agreement for camps and I'll just present it at the next meeting, we can decide from there. State meeting.
State meeting updates.
So I did go to the state meeting last 2 weekends ago. There's a lot of, one thing that they changed is at the beginning of the season, it was Pee Wee, I think it was like Pee Wee Bs or B1 up until Bantam AA was all play-in. So you weren't actually guaranteed a state in those levels. By the end of the meeting, they changed it back to where it's just the Bantam A and AA that would be playing. Everyone else is wrapped into the tournaments now. Other than that, that's pretty much the big change. They mentioned the neck guard, so your goalies, even though they have that neck protection, they still need to have a neck guard too. So just a reminder for everyone. Other than that, that's pretty much all there really was.
And Sam, on the neck guards, I know it was brought to me by One Oak, they wanted to just make sure that we were not charging for the neck guard, that's a donation to the
Yep.
kids.
Yep. So each kid will get a neck guard.
Perfect. Ref coordinator?
Brady, did you have any questions or anything, or?
I don't have any questions. I had added up for the tournaments, kind of a rough count, because I didn't pay every 2 weeks, so there's other things in here, but $19,915 tournaments last year. Rough counts.
That's what was paid?
Yeah, well, for just here, I didn't add up the, really had to get someone, that or anything like that. No, it probably would offset the extra needs I had.
So did you have a change of heart and you want to be a rec coordinator?
No, I did not.
No?
Did anybody get with Jada more on it? Didn't she say she would be willing to coordinate?
I haven't talked to her. I know she's been busy the last week.
The last I spoke to her, it was a yes, but that was when I sent it to all you guys as well.
Sure.
So does someone just want to confirm with her and we can go through email, you think, for that one?
I would say so.
Or do you want just a vote now and?
I would say let's double
Yeah,
check to
confirm
make
with her
sure
first.
Okay.
she's willing to do it, yeah. Did we decide on paying for that, or did you want a motion on flat number?
I think we should just do a flat number. I did look back last year and it was $1,650 is what it was that we paid for the rep coordinator. It was the same as the junior golden 18U head coach. That's what it was. So, I don't know. I mean, with all these tournaments, all these that we're putting on, I mean, it's a lot of extra work. I mean, honestly, I think we should just make a flat fee of $2,000 and be the rep coordinator, you know.
Is that including dibs?
Yes,
So they don't have to do dibs?
I don't have to do dibs.
So do we need a motion on that?
Yeah, we'll need a motion because eventually, well, it could be approved with all of our coaches' pay. That's where we approved it last year, but I mean, we can approve that now. I mean, so we could at least have, and they know what they're gonna get paid, you know, if we find something.
Make a motion to approve 2,000 and no bids for coordinator.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I did, before we move to say sport, is there a reffing thing this year? Is it all online, or what's the status of that? Does anybody know?
The repping, all online.
So
There's no test.
Even for first year, Sam?
Yep.
So is that something we want to post, like a link or sign up on the website?
Well, I've sent it out before, but I can send it out again. But I mean, I think that, I know other towns are also doing like if your first year, the rec coordinator is gonna go out and actually kind of do a class with them. So they kind of have an idea. So we might want to get some older reps and try to do some sort of class with the first years. But then that's just this year. There's no test or anything.
I did read that, I just didn't know if they were doing it.
I can send a reminder out, because the last date is October 31st, and they don't accept anything after that this year.
Okay, so we just resend out this reminder, because now, obviously, not everybody's with Crossbar yet too, right, so with registration still coming in, so I'm sure some haven't gotten it.
Yeah.
Safe support coordinator. I do know that Ron Thornock, who was, I think, the next in votes, from our club, he's reached out and said that he would be willing to take on that responsibility.
I know Corey Birdall has as well. Ryan told me that recently.
Is that another thing we can just confirm with them and then we'll email?
Corey emailed us and followed up with a text saying that we hadn't responded yet, so I know that she's adamant about doing it. Or at least wanting to do it. I guess I haven't specifically talked to Ryan, John, so I just asked him if he had talked to him like recently from, said yes, so I guess it would be who do we feel is the best fit? Hold on.
So I will make a motion for Corey Birdall based upon the fact that she was the very first one to apply, sent through the email.
That's fair.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Equipment jersey update. Did, Lisa, you've been working with Katie as well. I know she had sent me out something here late. I wasn't able to look over that, but it seems like we've got the numbers and we're ready to go on that.
I think I asked her for a grand total. Did she have that in that email?
No. For the older group,
For how much it was gonna
looks
cost?
like a range,
Yeah, it was,
but nothing for adding extra jerseys for the bands and below. She just put 8 to 10 extra jerseys at each group, age level. Because last year we had about, looks like, based on inventory, 4 extra jerseys compared to how many skaters we had that were game jerseys, not like the Mike game, not Mike jerseys, but office games.
So can we approve, the purchase of all this with the final invoice, being sent to all of us for approval, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to get the quote back from Bob. And then just.
well, I do know on those ones that they were 45 apiece, and that's just from the ones that I had bought.
So is she looking for a motion to
Yeah,
move forward with anything, or is she just?
Yeah, I mean, we need to definitely get rolling on the high school level ones, but those
Okay.
are different, being stitched and stuff like that, so 100% those need to do, and I think based on my conversation with her, it's like 4 to 6 weeks. So she'll replace the seniors, and then I told her to go do inventory of what's downstairs, and then just do a number from 1 to 25 or 30 and make sure we're covered.
Does this typically come out of our general fund? No, other funding, okay.
Yeah, and then, I mean, they have the option to purchase, right, if they're getting their name on it, they're probably purchasing it back, but I think it's an upfront cost to us to get them just coming.
So on your email, it does state 1,600 to 2K, so can I just make a motion for the approval of ordering these jerseys not to exceed $2,000?
I think so, and then I'd like to add into that she gets, just go with your plan and get us a quote. Like, just get with, you know, I mean.
Cause we'll need socks too.
Right, exactly, so.
We need to go smaller size this year on
Yeah,
socks.
they do.
Yeah,
make those.
way big. Second.
Yeah, I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hockey committee.
So, like Chris had said, we had a very productive meeting last week. Probably one of the best meetings we've had. Most of our discussion was hockey director and where we want to go from here forward. The hockey committee wants to recommend that we start looking for a hockey director as soon as possible. We all kind of agreed on this job description. I'll pass down here. It looks good. Did you? Just kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on where we should go from here as far as a hockey director. Obviously, we only approved Tom's resignation on the 19th. I sent out all the notes from our meeting. I'm sure you guys all got a chance to look at them. They're really good.
I mean, I definitely think we need one. I don't, with the season around the corner, I mean, kind of tough, right, this second.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of an issue that got brought up too. We all kind of agreed that if it wasn't the right candidate, we don't move forward just for the sake of moving forward. We also discussed like an interim director. We all kind of watched Tyler who's doing the fall camp. I mean, obviously it would still have to go through the same hiring process as anyone else, and just kind of a temporary thing to help us get through the season. I'm not opposed to anything. I just kind of want to get going with hockey.
Well, I think too with, which I wasn't here for the hiring of Tom, but just kind of saw the snowball effect of, with hearing the reports of how the current hockey committee is collaborating and working together. That to me is a really good sign. I'm definitely not opposed to, Tyler being the kind of interim guy here through the season, because bringing someone in right at the get-go, kind of like Tom did, was definitely not beneficial to the club or himself. And then with that being said, I know we've talked about the hiring committee who's going to vet these candidates. My thought is, if the hockey committee is continuing to work together, that we could leave that up to the hockey committee to vet candidates.
I think we kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, hockey committee members that are in here, but we kind of wanted to leave it up, the final decision, to the board.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I mean, I was just saying that they could go through, we could definitely have board of directors as part of the interviewing processes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just for y'all to work together on, getting it out there, going through the weeds, looking for the candidates, and then we could, once you find, narrow it down to 2 or 3, then present that to us and go from there.
I can speak up for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, a lot of our discussion, we have a lot of members of the hockey league, right? So there's a lot of us, and we talked through 2 scenarios. So basically, the feedback that we're looking for directly from the board tonight is very specific. It's, number 1 is, there's plenty of risks around searching for the hockey director, and it just being a waste of time in the interim, because we might not find one, and we always stress that. But the second part of this is that what we feel strongly about is that the board should form some form of a subcommittee, and it should be launched from the board. Last time that it was launched directly from the hockey committee itself, when it got to the end, it met resistance and kind of fell apart. And so when I look through just the actions, just specifically, we have a job listing that we could post, but realistically what we were hoping for is a smaller group of people that have direct hiring experience, advice from you guys, and form a special committee to run the search process, not necessarily the hockey committee in whole. I think there's too many people people on the hockey committee, if we at the hockey committee start just saying, hey, yep, you're in, boom, 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 and then we bring it to you, we don't feel that that could be constructive. So what we're ultimately looking for is for you guys to say, yep, thumbs up, and we'll launch a subcommittee formation, is ultimately what I think we were hoping for.
I think ultimately that happened last time too. We had Jared, Scott, but a few of the same people who did the interview process. And they brought their recommendations forward.
100%. So we just don't want it to be the hockey committee. We want the subcommittee to be formed from the board. Does that make sense? What am I not making sense on, Corey?
You're asking me to do the exact same process what we did last time.
100%.
And that
I'm
was-
not asking for a
that was
new
effective
process.
last time.
I'm asking for the board to form a group of people. We select those people, Corey Sampson, you're on, Preston's on, Jeff, whoever, pick them. And allow them to run the process that they want to run. Not the hockey committee runs the process. Create a subcommittee, Corey, what do I not get?
Same thing with what we did.
Yeah, it's something we'll discuss for sure.
Before you hire Tyler to be the interim, since he applied the last time and was not hired, would you guys just consider reviewing? his
Yeah, for sure. And we're not gonna hire him. No.
Because there may be a reason why he was
Yeah.
not.
It's something we definitely are gonna do our own investigation into, with whoever the subcommittee is.
He did apply the last.
So, I think, Brody, you're the chair of that committee, and honestly, I think we should try to come up with 5 people, I know it was brought to my attention, if we do get like 2 or 3 candidates, maybe we do bring them in for all the members of our club to meet them, ask some questions to them, so they have a little input to see what they think too,
Well, that's another thing we discussed at the hockey committee meeting, like if we were, and I'm just using Tyler as an example, but if everybody sat and watched and thought, hey, this guy might be good, maybe we bring him up in a setting like this, sit him down in front of the club and let everybody ask him questions.
The board needs to take the ownership of this hiring process, the board, period. Nobody, no subcommittees, no appointees, the board. You guys are elected and voted on to make these decisions. You have a fiduciary responsibility to make the decision. You guys need to take the lead and do it. You cannot farm it out. The farming it out was a debacle.
Is anyone opposed to that?
Pure debacle.
What's that?
Because at the end of the day, Aaron has a great point. When we farm something out, like at the end of the day, it still comes back on us. And if the 200 people within this club voted on us 6 and 7 to be in here, I myself, everyone here at some point in their life has probably had some form of hiring experience, some more than others. But at that point, we are then responsible for the direction that we go.
No, for sure, and I don't think it was ever that we were gonna let someone else make the final decision. I think it was more finding us candidates.
So in the hockey committee meeting, we came down to 3 phases. Is that it? Is there 3 phases?
The third option is.
Yeah, the options, but the first question we had was, will the board approve a hockey director? And then we were moving into looking at other phases, which you guys have all talked about already.
Yeah.
So the first question is it approved to move forward? That was that first question.
Yeah, and I think we all agreed that, am I wrong? That we want to move forward with a hockey director?
So then we moved to the second step, which is in that
Yeah.
document.
What was the second step?
I don't have the papers in
Very
front of
clearly to decide whether or not you're going to form a subcommittee.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Exactly what Browns is saying, which is perfectly acceptable. from
Yeah.
the hockey committee's perspective.
So the
But somebody's gotta lead it. That's-
subcommittee takes candidates to the board to make the final decision.
The other thing is, as a hockey committee, we don't know where our jurisdiction is as far as forming a subcommittee, and at the end of the day, a hockey director answers to the the board or reports to the board, it is an employee of the board, not any other subcommittee or committee. So that's where a process for hiring this has to come from you guys, been laid out crystal clear, what you guys are expecting, and who you wanna hire is up to you guys. What that process looks like, I can't wait to find out.
So I think the second step of that was you guys decided which direction you're going. The committee, you guys handling that, and then we're going step 3, I think, was what we offered on the table. Right, so you guys have to decide, hold on, if you're, are you guys taking that, or?
We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Right now, are we not?
No, I mean, I don't think it needs to get chaired, you know, or, I don't think that we need to table it to the next meeting. I mean, we're here now. I mean, it's really up to us if we would like to, you know,
Form a subcommittee
form
or
a
just
subcommittee or
find the candidates
find the
ourselves.
candidates ourselves. I know for myself speaking, just everything that I've seen and heard and went through over the last, you know, few months, at the end of the day, it falls on us sitting here at this table. And, I mean, I know for a fact that the 6 year, we're all very strong-willed and can do it, and especially working together. And then at the end of the day, like, it's on us. It's no one else. It's not, it's like even with Tom here, there was another committee, he wasn't the right person, all this stuff, and it eliminates all of that.
I mean, I'd like a little time to read.
Yeah, I would like to go over this, maybe we can put something together.
I mean, I definitely, if we need to make a motion to, post a job opening for a hockey director, I'm all about that. And then go from there as the first step, but I'd like some time to read what you guys propose as a committee for what you feel is the expectation and duties of the director.
Yeah, that's fair. It is kind of long.
We didn't put down anything in the meeting on expectations of the direction.
Well, perspective. What he gave us, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's from the last cycle, that's nothing new, that was.
Yeah.
What was put out on the top side.
So I don't know if you guys had figured it out on your past board of when it's decided it's a quorum with all 7 of us working on something together. So if we all 7 of us sit down in an interview, like it might be something we should legally ask somebody.
You can hire.
We can, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, but you can have, you as a subcommittee, just like a school board of the city, you can have a 3-person committee doing the hiring, all board members, period. And you guys go to, post the job, identify this is the job that they're gonna do, and go hire them, period. And then there's no question whether what the job description is, who they're not supposed to, what they're doing.
I was just wondering if it gets sticky if all 7 of us are sitting and interviewing the same person. Like,
I don't believe it is in what my experience is. I'm not an attorney,
Yeah.
disclosure, but I think you should be okay to do a hiring. You're not discussing business. You're not making motions. You're just interviewing.
You had to, you could call it a meeting, you know,
A special meeting and then we just have to
Yeah.
document it.
yeah, documented that you're discussing just strictly hockey director, you know, interviews.
Was there a motion?
I agree with Aaron, that it's not a meeting, you guys are just watching the screen. But from, a hockey committee standpoint, are the 6 of you, do you guys have the time to sit through the first round, review resumes, to set up meetings, to be on a Zoom call with 10 or 15 people for a half hour to an hour? I mean, I agree you guys 100% made the final decision, but if the process is clear, you have all the notes, and you get 3 people, or, last time we had 4 second interviews, you can sit in on those without taking action, like Pat just said, if there's no action, no discussion, you shouldn't have to have a quorum, you can sit in on all the interviews, and then you have everything you need to make a decision. But there's a lot of time invested into posting, answering emails, setting up calls, all of that stuff. There is a lot of behind the scenes time it takes to do this. But I think it can be done this year. I do. If as at the board level, if you have the job description, all of the agreements to hire someone prepared, I don't think it's unrealistic. Assuming we find a good candidate, that we can do this in 60 days. I don't think it's out of question if we're prepared and we are focused on it.
I think the big thing is if it's Zoom, a lot of us, can jump on a Zoom call for half an hour.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be that hard. I think, Chris, can we record Zoom? Yeah. We can, last time we could have recorded all the meetings or whatever. It gets to be a lot scheduling it with their schedule, and we get the 6 of you in a room longer than one time a month. This is a much bigger process than one meeting a month.
Yeah, one question on interviews, because it can be touchy. You have to go through if you're doing it right, you're going through legal training, all that, what you can, cannot say, all that stuff. Are we covered on that? Well, I'm just saying as a whole, like who we put in there for interviewees or interviewers, you want to probably cover the basis on that so you don't get into any trouble if somebody sued for any discriminatory reasons, or I'm just throwing that out there. You guys can think about that. I know in the process there's a lot more in the background than just putting people together.
I think the big thing is you come up with a 10-question, thing and run it through the lawyer and say, hey, are these 10 questions technically, can we ask these 10 questions?
That's where I'm going, is making sure people know not to ask certain, they can't ask family stuff. I'm just making sure we're not just throwing people in there.
As far as moving forward, is that something you just want to think about for a day, or?
Yeah, I'd like time to read it, possibly
Anything
add
you feel like you want to add, yeah.
And then, do you want to make a special board meeting to address it when we all have a minute?
Well, Lisa, on that too, what I was thinking with the delay that we've had, if, even maybe go the next, we could still have a special meeting for that, but move the next board meeting up to like 2 weeks from now to just try to play catch up. Oh, it is, because, right. So we may throw in a special meeting and then catch that, and then if we need to put another one in the middle of next month, just trying to get caught up and get stuff in.
But I think we can collaborate a little over via email, because that
Correct.
is things of that nature, because we want a definitive job description.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we just throw it up online, right? So.
That job ad is good, we can get posted right away, even if you don't take any action until for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is good.
Then you'll reach back out.
Yeah, you could, technically, if we all agree that we want to go find a hockey director, we could put it out there, but technically we could go and approve a job description in 2 weeks.
In the meantime,
Yeah.
go ahead and put the line.
But before we do anything, interviews or anything like that, we gotta have job description out there so they know what they're getting into too. Last time, the job description didn't get out there. He signed and everybody signed, but the job description should have been out there first, with the hiring process.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself. You should not have post a job online without a job description falling behind it. You guys all have to vote on the job description, and that's what the job is gonna be, period. That's where it fell apart.
Because I think we spent the first 3 months battling whether this is a contracted or an employed position based upon the hours, when we wanted him there, when he was wanting to be there. There's just full circle of going back to what we've just fought over for 3 months straight.
I think, say we table it then and have something for our September 8th meeting.
Well, no, and I agree with Aaron 100%. Posting it without the description,
That's
Yeah, I don't
you're not, I mean, so I think between now and the next 2 weeks that we can work even online, via email, reviewing this, redline it, do whatever we need to do, all agree with what the description should be, and then hopefully have it posted before the next meeting.
Can we be clear on the difference between a job description and what you guys have in your hands and a contract? Are we confusing the two?
No, he didn't have either.
Okay, last time you guys said there was no job description
Not
posted?
to my knowledge, I wasn't.
No.
I don't know.
No?
Not agreed upon.
So,
Finally got voted in November.
So what I was
And in
told,
January, we were told that none of it in it was that, and he wasn't gonna do anything.
that was a contract.
Oh, that was his job description that they had on the table.
Not the advertisement that is right there for a job.
No, I know what you're talking about. This
That's like what you put
isn't
on LinkedIn.
what
Trying
was
to see
on
who applied.
Tom's contract.
Which I would separate the two, what Aaron's talking about versus like, hey, is this ad good enough to see if anybody even applies? Like, you know, like, we're not getting anybody who didn't apply this time, we don't know that.
Yeah.
Is that bad potentially, to just say, hey, we're looking for a hockey director on a single sheet of paper without all the duties listed?
I think what Brian and I are trying to say is that's exactly what we did, and it didn't work.
You don't like that?
It was awful.
Why, I don't disagree, I completely agree.
I think we have like 7 applicants too, so.
They had like 33.
Well, that they narrowed down from that
Right,
side.
3, right.
so
So I don't think that was an issue. Didn't happen.
So would this work?
The
If we got the
job
applicants
description.
running off the ad,
No.
and in the
That's
meantime, over the next 3 weeks, they narrowed down what that was and said, hey, you guys are the final candidates, like, this is the job. I don't know. Is that not possible?
No.
So we're gonna table this,
I would.
and if anybody wants to add to this, and then we'll discuss it at the next
I just
meeting.
wanted to read it,
Agreed?
We can come to an agreement before the next meeting, and we come to an agreement.
Yeah. Just give everybody a chance to look at it. Practice schedule. Kind of started it. Had Pat take a look at it. It's gonna be something that's gonna have to kind of.
Big thing I see with it, guys, is we gotta figure out who's our coaches. And what time they are available, you know, can they make a 4 o'clock time slot, or can they make, or are they a 9 o'clock time slot, you know? Before you start plugging teams in, you know?
I agree, I know it needs to have it fast, because I printed out the 3 emails you've got from the Halloween skate now, which I don't think will work, because I think you're planning to have evals on the 24th, right?
Yeah, you've seen that on the way.
So that's not gonna work.
So
We might.
are we using both rinks for that?
Well, that's true,
That second rink should be on by then.
so I'm just
when
saying,
we want to go over that?
if not, I mean, that was also maybe the first week of practice, I guess.
Yeah, and
Because I think evals should for that, right?
Yeah.
we also discussed pushing the first week of practices back.
Tryouts,
Yes,
which
which might work better with their Halloween skate, but also we're a little late in the season.
what I'm getting at is curling wants 2 more weeks too.
Yeah,
And then figure
Figure
skating
skating.
wants already to post a schedule, and we haven't even made a practice schedule yet to be able to fit our own stuff.
so I have added figure skating's time in there. They had
For
another,
exactly what
another
requested,
morning.
or, I mean, I guess I haven't looked at it too
It's
closely.
another morning.
Yeah.
It's another morning.
That's
Yeah.
what he added in.
I think the biggest thing is gonna be there's gonna be a lot of teams that have to practice together probably.
Well, was there, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we have morning time available last year, but we didn't have any teams?
Yeah, and there's still
advantage of
morning
it?
time available.
I think one team's on rotation.
And I think it's kind of I mean, I know everyone has a schedule, but we probably need to look into that as to, especially for the older kids that can drive and do, if they can make those morning skates.
Falls on who's potentially coaching and their availabilities too. That's the downfall to some of these time slots.
It is nice, maybe you could have a morning skate with your junior golden bantams, you know, because school doesn't start for a lot of those kids until 9 now, so. You know, you have a 7 o'clock morning, they're done at 8:15, they still got time to shower and walk to the school, you know, so.
I'm back in eighth grade.
So is that,
8th and 9th.
Eighth grade. They still start at,
8th
No.
grade starts on its normal time.
right, but if you're back.
Yeah, the Bantam, you got 8th graders, so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of just junior gold and 19U.
Well, it works if you go sooner.
Girls are already interested. So
It's gonna be a
so
tough.
This just have to be a.
so the practice schedule is still work in progress?
Yes. And then coaches.
So what levels are you need coaches on? All of them?
Yeah, pretty well. There's a few people that no one's actually told me they were coaching for sure. There's a few people that have coached for a number of years, I'm assuming. But obviously we struggle with coaches. So if anybody wants to coach a hockey team.
Do we need to send out a club emails asking who, and we have,
Lori sent one out for sure to all the previous coaches.
I don't know.
to the previous coaches.
Who's registered or what?
But there's some on the registration that have signed back up into that volunteer part. I couldn't rattle it off on the top of my head, but. So I think those are probably, in my opinion, for you guys, probably your top two.
Yeah.
Those things to get done right away, personally, while we work on the hockey director situation. And this is my opinion, is obviously do what you want, bring it back to it. I don't think we should push back tryouts and evals. I think we should get started sooner than November.
I can't hear you, what was that?
No, we should get started sooner than November 1, at least for the league teams, and get our tryouts on that week. That was originally the
Yeah, I
plan.
was gonna ask, when is the official start of MCHC club organized team practices?
Traditionally, we've been November 1st, but that's not.
Traditionally, but do we have
It-
anything
no,
like?
it's not a
is there any
requirement.
Policy on when club activity starts?
The league season starts, as far as games go, November 1st through whenever your state is, but there is no policy that we can't start soon. I mean, I know teams are already doing tryouts at this juncture right now, so. I personally wouldn't push it back an extra week, because then you're right back to starting November 1.
Yeah.
And I know that Sam struggles to find ice time as it is. Every year it happens, there's a team that's playing 2 or 3 games the very first weekend of November. And there's tournaments the second weekend. Pee-wees had to go before November last year with 2 practices, so. That's just my opinion, you guys can come up with something.
I'm just asking, do you think going forward, having a defined start to your season set up by the board and standard procedure every year eliminates 2 or 3 teams doing this, 2 or 3 teams doing that? This coach is available and wants to do it, so this team gets to do it, this team doesn't, like, do we not just have a standard of when the league starts?
It's, at least, as
I
long
think
as
a
I've
lot
been
of
in here,
times
it's been back and forth.
Depends on the
It's
coaches,
something to look into, I mean.
for sure.
So there's a lot of us versus them, they get to do this, we don't, why don't we just set a policy, this is what's going forward, our league starts this time, we want to do it again for hockey, that's what we do.
And Brody, I am gonna second what Jamie, was saying about not pushing it back, and I know Pat can attest this, and Corey, and Aaron as well. I think it was the first weekend, we had a tournament, and the kids were just completely gassed. So, I mean, just getting evals done and getting that extra ice time and conditioning is really gonna benefit the kids.
maybe that's a challenge that you guys do, is come up with a standard then and bring it to us, with being the hockey committee. I don't, is that unrealistic to ask of you guys?
No,
that's
fair. I mean, ultimately, that's the hockey director's job, not the board, if we ever hire one, but in
Accurate.
the meantime, I don't think that's how they're wrong for the hockey committee to make that suggestion, but at the end of the day, it's a suggestion, right? So it's-
Correct, yep, and I agree with you, I've always thought we should start sooner than November first, that's my own opinion, whether I'm
I'm not
not.
advocating for sooner or later, I'm advocating for a standard.
Just a
Sure.
set date.
Absolutely.
But I know we've gone back and forth depending on who's available, it's optional, it's not optional, it's just, I agree. So if you guys wanna come up with something, bring it to us, absolutely. What's the hockey committee member voting?
We did have, so with our meeting with Matt, he did think our hockey committee was too large. Here's my personal thought on it. All those guys have been coming for however long, 3-4 weeks now. They're very committed. I hate to kick anyone off at this point. I feel like as long as the meetings can go well, like they did last time, I don't see a reason in just trying to move forward with it.
And that's just something that maybe with the revision of our bylaws and standards that.
Something we talk about in the future, yeah.
So what is the plan with the evaluations then?
What's that, sorry?
What is the plan with the evaluations?
The dates, so it was 3 weeks of fall camp, then the Robbie glance, right? And then the evaluations would be that 4th week, but I think there's is it that the week that there's the Thursday and Friday off school?
That's the Robbie Glantz week.
Okay, so then the following week evaluations.
Okay,
and
so
stuff.
as like, but what, with like the third party, do you guys have an idea on who you wanna bring in, or are we?
That's part of
Tyler? Tyler's gonna?
Yeah.
So that price is always different, cause he's gonna charge I think it was $125 a kid, right?
Yes.
That's different from this preseason camp?
No, it's all in.
It's all inclusive.
That's all
That
included in it?
covers the
doing-
That's
trial, or the
5,000?
evaluations.
That's included in
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Is Tyler charging $125 per kid, or is the club charging $125 per kid? And paying Tyler X amount of money?
So we are paying Tyler X amount of money and we're charging $125 a kid.
Yeah.
And with that, on the tryouts and evaluations, Brody, or did the hockey committee, did we decide if him and his team is going to evaluate the kids fully and we're gonna have no coaches, no director?
He will evaluate
nobody?
them, but he will not make the final decision on the teams.
Who will make the final decision?
The hockey committee is still discussing that.
I thought the board made a decision on bringing Tyler Dawson to do this.
He won't pick the teams though.
I know that for preseason camp, like we're discussing, who made that decision, or who's making that decision, did the board make the decision to bring Tyler in?
To bring Tyler into the preseason camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We made the decision to bring him in to do what he's doing currently on the ice now, and then he's gonna evaluate the players throughout essentially the preseason. And then
Which not
special.
all players from MCHC club are.
No, the
Correct,
fourth.
that's why he's also doing a separate eval
Yes,
time slot for,
which I'm assuming will just be a game and they will watch. I don't know, I haven't asked him how he's gonna run
and then
evaluations,
from my understanding, based on what he presented to us, was he's gonna bring recommendations of who should be on what team. But ultimately, we have to decide, or the hockey committee has to decide what that looks like. Is it the head coach? Is it us board members? Is it a 3-person team from your group? That's the,
We would like to know that.
yeah, that's the, so.
I mean, if you guys want us to, we'll do it, but if you want to do it, we'll just, no, so.
Well, I mean, no offense to you guys, but I don't think we should be the ones picking the teams. I think it's probably something the hockey committee can decide whether they want to do it all together or we want to do it, pick certain people or have certain people, and then if they're have a kid in that program, maybe they're not involved in that team picking. I don't know. Is that?
Another thing on your docket.
Yeah, more to talk about. We'll get that on the priority list for the meeting, next hockey committee meeting.
So, sorry, did he charging for the evaluations too then? So,
No,
No.
there's no charge for the evaluation. That was part of
Oh,
your
That was, yeah, that was
registration.
part of the thing.
So
Sorry,
then-
did I confuse you? I was just going off of like what was sent to me, so I just didn't know for sure what, if that was an extra cost.
If you registered with the
Yeah.
hockey club, you will get invited to evaluations for your age group.
All right. Budget and finance?
So at this point, I'm the chair of budget and finance. We have not met. I know this is a huge controversial committee apparently, but it's really how I envisioned it is that they maybe meet before the season, middle of the season, and end of the season. And basically what we were kind of waiting on is just kind of what this, back in May, I had asked Tom if he had a 5-year plan during one of our board meetings, and he said, no, but I can get you a 3-year plan of about 80% done. So with that, what I would have done is taken that 3-year plan, bring it back to budget and finance, and be like, hey, we're going high school hockey in 2 years. What does that look like as far as our budget? What do we need to plan for? What does happen with the budget is Denise actually apparently gives us a budget every year. I didn't know that either.
That started with me.
Okay, I didn't know that. I just found that out this last week when I sat down with her. So she will be able to give some sort of budget as well for that, for a whole entire year. I'm hoping with this new director position, eventually we'll be able to have a 3 to 5 year plan that we can kind of set forth a budget. Obviously have it now for the Winter Classics as what I presented today. But that's pretty much where it was sitting. So that's all I got.
Hartford City Tournament?
Yeah, so I've already kind of touched on that. Actually, I probably had 10 to 20 emails and phone calls a day. A lot of the Canadian teams are getting their tryouts done and picking their teams, starting with AA or AAA moving down. So I've been getting a lot of the A, AA levels, high school levels coming out of woodworks here just today. I imagine that won't stop for a bit. So I'm hopeful that I'll have all 96 tournament slots filled. As I said, there's 7 left. There's 2 Bantam B, 1 Bantam A, and then 4 12U girls left. Everything else is full and has waitlist teams on it. I did have a Saskatoon scored B1A drop out, but I had a team, Mandan was ready and waiting to come back in, so that filled right back up. For the Squirts, Pee-wees, high school levels, the schedules are done, locker rooms, everything's done and ready to go for that, except for obviously the roster pamphlets, which I'll get with Brody again on that. Whether you pay or not is one thing, we'll have to talk about that, but if you want to design them again, or we can discuss that later. Yeah, so as these things fill up, I'm confirming the Canadian teams that reserved from last year, they're all sticking with yes. So we're in a good spot. The Jamboree, we did have to move the date back 1 weekend, so we're going to be pretty tight. I think back-to-back weekends between the Jamboree and then the 19U Junior Gold weekend. There was a scheduling snafu for league games.
But I think either way, it was the Bantam and then it was the Jamboree anyway, so it's still back to back.
So at any rate, we moved it back a week. That one has 6 teams, 2 of them being ours, plus the other 2 in the cross ice. I anticipate that'll fill up again. I didn't see your email from Dallas, Sam, so I'm assuming that we won't have any issues there. It's usually the last thing to fill, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Lisa's got more good stuff going on this year for that. I did update the rules in that. That was presented last spring, or this previous spring. A little bit longer game times. Just some smaller stuff changed. I think we'll play later into the day so they can get more games with how many teams we have. Instead of 4 to 5, they're probably going to get 5 to 6. So I think that'll be good overall. yeah, there's no shortage of teams wanting in, which is great, and they're all having about the price. So like I said, I think the last update I gave you was like 59,600. We're probably closer to 61,500, 62. It's at the office, so I don't have that exact number, but it's doing really well, coming along.
Well, are there any concessions, maybe anything on that? Nothing? I would like to ask that we run through this within the next 30 minutes, what's left. The Rough Rider had asked us to be out by 8 o'clock. Fundraising and marketing? Nothing? Pat, facilities?
Facilities, I went to turn on the compressor, to turn on the other rink. Cliff was gone last week, he'll be back tomorrow, so we will get the other rink fired up and cooled down. And hope that one will get cooled down pretty quick. So hoping by middle of next week, be ready to skate on and use. So.
Was that your only update? Sorry.
Yep.
Okay. What about the TVs? You got them ordered, right?
They were approved, but I don't think we supported them.
I didn't order them, sorry.
Still longer.
That's all.
Like she's, yes, she has what
I have it.
she has it. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I guess my question is, when that happens, do you have a game plan with the Rough Riders of what they'll allow us to do, what they won't?
So I talked to them last year about that, put the TVs up on the wall there. There is 2 Ethernet jacks, power, everything there, you know, so they were good with that. They thought that would be a good spot to use that space for instead of, so I'll run it by them again. I don't see why they'll have a problem with it or anything like that. So
And then probably need some help figuring out how we stream that, assignments and all that stuff. There's like a system or a computer. I know we talked to John, he said it takes a computer. Typically, we got Chris back there that I'm sure has got some stuff out of his.
you might end up having to just put it on a junk drive, you know, download it and then just plug it into the back of the TV and it'll just.
So the banners are here and they're downstairs, and I think the Rough Rider Center is hanging them the 26th, so this week.
They're gonna hang yours. Interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
Additions, arcade games?
So I had started emailing about possibly having arcade games upstairs or somewhere in our facility. I know when I talked to Pat about it, he said that it was already approved from the past board, that you guys were already working on something like that, but it just kind of like fell through. So I'd like to see some sort of fun item. It kind of coincides with the mascot. If we had a claw machine or anything like that, I can get these for $2, you know.
Can we get a bubble hockey game?
Probably. The guy said we could pretty much do anything they wanted. Before, I think Darlene was helping
Yes.
facilitate that.
Yeah, so with the, she goes through, you get like 50% of those profits that are made, and Darlene said that she makes a lot of money. My only concern was the noise in there. That's kind of.
I'm sorry, did you say where you would theoretically put these things?
So when we were discussing this last year with us board, we were looking at where the couches were and stuff back there by where the boardroom is. Darlene didn't want them back there because she wants to be able to see them to make sure kids aren't, you know, tipping them over, trying to, you know. So she kind of wanted them up closer where the concessions was, and I was like, it's too congested right there. You can't, there's no room, you
I mean,
know.
I think in the interim, we can, back there in the back's not a bad spot, but
Eventually, that's
gonna
gonna be back.
So,
So, I mean, you might only get 1 year out of it if you did it, you know, and then have to come up with another plan of where to put them.
is downstairs before you walk into Hanson, the end of the
Yeah,
hallway, that spot.
All the way along there.
She wanted somewhere where you could, that when somebody's in the concessions, you know, an adult can see them to make sure that they aren't getting.
A border.
It's too cold there.
So, I mean, it's something to work through, but.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The Rough Riders putting in like 40-some more cameras, couldn't they put a monitor in your concession stands and watch games as well?
Honestly,
If you put it
it's,
Downstairs.
the arcade system downstairs, you should watch.
It's very likely one is going there anyways because they had some issues with trespassing, so I'm assuming that is one of those spots.
So who goes through the film though, the Rough Rider Center?
They
So
would.
anytime we say there's been,
I think most of the times the concession's not open anyways, so there won't be anyone watching.
Yeah, I'm less worried about, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna tip over a
Bubble hockey game.
so I'll do some research and kind of get some quotes and just see what you guys think and just mull that over and I'll have it ready for the next board
I
meeting.
mean, if Gallagher's not in it, I'm not voting for it, so.
Pictures, seasonal, individual, and group.
So I added it on there because, level up photography, did you guys see that email that came through?
Yeah.
I'm guessing I can get with her, we can try to set up picture times. And I know that we've talked to Sarah Westcott to do action shots during games and stuff, I think it'd be really good to do that, get some more content and everything.
So I want to say that Sarah was gonna charge, was it $100 or $200 per. So what would happen is the 19U would get her 2 times, the junior gold would get her 2 times, and basically we would, pay for that content, and I think it was $100 a game. So these would all be home games, and then we would have all the rights to all those photos, so posting on Facebook, all that type of stuff. We'd be able to have those images. So it's just something to narrow down with her as far as the contract of what that looks like. But I definitely think we need to like move forward with that, and we did use her last year, so.
Sounds good.
I'm good with it.
Governance committee.
do we wanna form a governance committee, you know, start working on our bylaws, you know? Just like Matt sent in our email, you know, it ain't gonna happen overnight. You know, it's gonna take some time to get through all that, to work through it and everything like that.
I would be definitely not opposed to a bylaw committee, but I think there's a really gray area with calling it a governance committee, because if you really get into the definitions of what that is, it's basically a committee that oversees your board. And I have done a lot of research on this. I've been researching this for a long time. I actually even talked with Matt Stockert about it, asked him. He said that a club of our size definitely does not need that we, the board, are the governance committee, that you only see that at levels of like Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants Forever, places like really large groups. But I'm definitely not opposed to a bylaw committee that would work to fix up everything that we need fixing within the bylaws.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. I think when I first initially presented the committees to you guys, like that was the type of feedback I was looking for as far as like what you want it called. But basically they would go through, we don't have time to hire a director, go through all of our bylaws, change everything, go through policies. I mean, I feel like anytime you have these committees, you're gonna want some sort of expert advice on them.
100%.
So if you wanna call it a bylaws committee, I'm fine with that.
Well, I think for now, right, that's gotta be the main focus. Doesn't everybody else feel that way based on?
Absolutely.
what
Yeah.
happened?
No, for sure.
Absolutely.
But I would agree with that, somebody that's got the knowledge to write something up for people, focus on that.
It's not a long-term meeting, right? It's a temporary meeting.
No,
Oh,
it would be forever.
Forever.
Well, because you constantly need to update your policies and bylaws. That's why we're in the situation that we're in, is because things haven't been updated. So how we do it on school board, and I'm referencing back, it's just like a constant of, no, we don't want that many policies is what they have, all that type of stuff. But it just has to be someone constantly reviewing it, whether or not they meet 8 times a year, if they don't have to do that, you know. But even at the beginning of the season every year, they go back and just look at our bylaws, make sure we're up to date with everything. get with the state. I feel like that would be beneficial.
I mean, the first time, I think it's gonna take some
Yeah.
time, but, you know, if you get her done, I mean, I think it would go pretty quick the next year to look like, hey, do we need to change? I think there's something here that we should probably get tweaked, you know, I mean, it might only be one or two things, you know, the next year. instead of-
And Matt had kind of recommended, you know, that they're always looking for loopholes, you know? You're gonna establish something and then they're gonna try and find a loophole to it, so it's just constantly something that needs to be looked at and updated. So we're in agreement, do we need to make a motion for the bylaws committee? It would just be in the handbook. And the handbook can be changed at any time. Like, it's
Was
not a
this gonna
policy.
be, I mean, do we need to talk about how many people that's gonna be made up of, or how that's, like, how that committee's gonna look and how it'll be formed?
You guys are the only ones that can change bylaws. And so my question is it more the secretary's job to update the bylaws and then have it ratified by your group? Versus having a legal basis of like, I mean, what would they be doing? I can't even.
You could write those things up, I feel like, and then present it. And then the only person that can ratify it is physically sign it. Yep.
So are they gonna bring and say, hey, I think you should change these bylaws? Isn't that your guys' job?
So what, the couple times that I did get, there were some things added there when Peggy Lisa was on the board, you know, she brought it to our attention, like, hey, we should look at this, you know, change in this. We had a board member that didn't show up for the first 6 meetings, you know, and it was like, so that was almost 6 months. And it was like, there was nothing in the bylaws that, okay, we need to put something in there that, because you know, and so that's how it got changed. Then what we did is we wrote it up, she did, we sent it to the lawyer at the time, that was Wyatt did the legal part of making the wording correctly and things like that. And then presented it back to us and then it got approved.
I mean, you guys are running, here's just one small, you guys are running the day-to-day of the club. You have this committee over here that doesn't know what's going on, they're staring at a legal contract, like, you guys wanna change bylaws, change them. Like, I don't know why you need a committee to do that. Like, I feel like you guys are the bylaw committee.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sorry, just, you can keep going, I just wanted to add that.
Well, I mean, I will say that, I mean, if we just, like, that's, I think, why I asked, like, how this committee's gonna be made up, who's gonna chair it, how that's gonna look. But I would agree with that at the end of the day, I mean, it is gonna be on us.
It will be no matter what. Still gotta come to us, we still gotta review and read through it, but.
It's more gonna be like a support committee with everything that needs correction, it's good
There
just.
still has to be a board member to chair it.
Yeah.
So that would have to be involved with that.
That makes sense to you guys, that's cool.
I don't have time to go through and write that all out.
So, in comparison, like, every year we have to go through all our operating procedures, maintenance procedures, things like that, certified every year. I have to sign off on it. So we have a group that gathers together and reviews them, red line stuff, brings it back here, and we certify. So it'd be kind of the same concept. Kind of a pity, but it's.
What's next year?
And then they would. That's the way I look at it.
That's the intention.
Well, I think this is something that we could
we can keep working.
table for now and work towards. The level coordinators, Lisa, you have more on that? I know that Matt had brought that up, that was a really good idea.
That's something that, Jamie had in his notes to have on the agenda. So,
Oh, I was just,
Wasn't me.
it was brought up. I know definitely other clubs do that, where us as board members take a age level. Somebody takes like maybe the entire girls program, I've seen that, and then you got a couple at AU, and then one at PB's, one at Bantam's, one at junior gold. So all the focus from the members, if they have issues, anything that they wanna bring up, basically gets thrown to that coordinator's position, whatever that may be. that something I guess what I was putting it on there, is that something we wanna move forward to do and discuss?
So can we bounce that to the hockey committee and they decide whether or not you want level coordinators? Or make recommendations?
His recommendation
So
was.
what he was getting at with level coordinators is like Lisa, you would, any 8U or scores have an issue, they would come to you and you would bring that to the board. Any girls have an issue, they bring it, it would be a board member, and then the board member would bring it to the board or whoever needed to go to. That's what that was getting at with that.
I think that's a really great idea to kind of not have the director or the hockey committee be the person that gets, we just don't want a repeat of last year with what happened. So I think with letting all the teams know that they have a certain board member that they can go to with their complaints and then present that forward and not go have a repeat of last year.
Essentially a main point of contact.
Yep.
Otherwise, I mean, you see somebody going to all 6 of us, if they don't like the answer they're getting potentially.
I mean, I like the idea.
We will have to decide on it now.
So this is disciplinary, so where does safe sport play into this?
I don't think it's necessary.
I think it's more just like concerns, like.
Oh, no.
If you're unhappy with
Unhappy
like the
with the
schedule or
coach.
something, you
Yeah.
can get with your point of contact and not.
Yeah, my kid's not getting enough playing time versus this kid. This coach did this or didn't do this. Anything relative to a person or parents.
Because
Complaint at that
we
level.
have direction for them in our handbooks, correct? There's a step-by-step process of following a 24-hour policy where you contact the coach. I'm pretty sure I've read all this.
Yeah.
No, it is, but that would just be the way of eliminating the coaches from it. That way they can focus on.
So you would
hockey.
add us kind of as a first step.
Just an amendment on that.
Is that something you could write up so we could read it in line with the handbook?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research on it. I guess.
Jamie, if I could make a suggestion on that, if it's possible, make sure that board member doesn't have any affiliation with that particular group.
Yeah,
100%.
that's what was mentioned too.
Yep.
So I didn't wanna make any rash decision on what level, I just wanted to
I
float
mean,
it back.
I
and see
have
if
4
it was
kids
something.
and like 9 nieces and nephews.
Right, that's why I said if possible, it gets tough.
It will be challenging, and I'm certain that there's gonna be somebody that doesn't like who ends up where this week.
Well, we would do our best to eliminate that.
Yeah, I'll look into it more and then maybe write something up for the next week.
Okay.
So,
No executive session is needed. Next meeting will be October 8th, 2024 here. Lisa, does 5:30 work this time of the year, or is 6 still best?
6 is easier for me.
I like 6
to
good.
kids to pick up from school, or I mean from daycare.
I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Adjourned.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Have not thought about it.